Hello, everyone. I'm Jack DeSena from the J&J Indie Wrestling Talk Show. And today's show, we have a return guest. He goes by the name of Ali, the Beast from the Middle East, Farhat. And last we spoke to Mr. Farhat, he was in Dubai helping put together a promotion, uh, the wrestling and I don't know about mixed martial arts. I think it was just wrestling, but it was a different form where you had to win with a uh, it was bloody. It was kind of like bare knuckle, and he helped put it together, and I guess it was a hit. But he went there for a week or two or whatever, and he wound up staying for 6 months. So as he came back to Canada, he had to check on his school. Yeah, and his family was, his family was in Canada, so he had to be with his family. And while he was in Canada, he had heard rumblings from his best friend that there's going to be some type of hostile takeover, or they're just going to push him out of the business over there, right? So his best friend has a brother who was one of the promoters over there, one of the leaders, whatever, and told him. He says, "Yeah, they're gonna push you out," and they pushed him out. And now his best friend said, "You know what?" He happened to be one of the backers, and he says, "I'm not gonna back them anymore." So he pulled out of it himself, and the rest is he will tell you. We're gonna go right into the interview along with my cousin John Marini, and he's also my co-host, John Marini. Uh, Man of a few hats, but he's good. And let's get into it.
Yeah,
So,
because it was my life's dream to have a running organization across the Middle East, like any other promotion runs around the North American here. And
You've been there like 6 months, you're saying, and they just
yeah,
out of nowhere
I spent about 6 months there
at
building
the
the company.
6 months they just didn't want to use you anymore. Wow, that's bad.
so what was it originally called? The Ultimate
Ultimate
Wrestling Nation,
Wrestling Nation, yeah.
and then they changed it to the United Wrestling Nation.
Then these guys got together and started the United Wrestling Nation.
Right.
And the
What
thing
about
is we had a fund manager involved, and she got us okayed for 25 million from five American investors that were putting in 5 million each. And so we had I figured it was going to take some time to get funding. So I figured I'd rush back home and say hi to my wife and 5 kids and check on the school. And then they ended up, now the guy that did this, that orchestrated this, his brother was my best friend. So you want to talk about it?
That's
that's a
His
stab in the
brother,
back for
honest to
sure.
God, he was my best friend for so many years and still is today one of my dearest friends. But he's the one that actually ended up telling me what happened, because I didn't know when I got back here to Canada. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like all this shit on social media and blah, blah, blah. And, they kind of tried to make it look like, I was somehow the bad guy, and nonetheless, nor here nor there. But so his brother ends up calling me, and he's, and some time had passed now, about a year's gone by, and he says to me, he goes, "Do you know what my brother did?" And I said, I got tidbits. I'm starting to gather from seeing, the United Wrestling Nation pop up, and the people that were in my organization now handling that organization. He said, well, the investor for 25 million, when he seen what his brother did, bailed and said, man, this is not the kind of people I want to get involved with,
Right.
And I don't blame him at all. And so this guy ends up finding a guy in Dubai that's going to put in 12 million. And so, the thing that really was the disheartening part, it's not that that people can't be this devious or this greedy or this, but it was that I had gone out and spoken to guys like Kurt Angle, Eric Bischoff, Mojo Riley, Damian Sandow, Mark Henry, Chuck Liddell, like, guys that you would not want to call and say, hey, I might have an opportunity for you if you don't have an opportunity because you look like a fucking donkey.
Yeah.
So that's what, and I didn't, I never had the courage to call them and say, this is why we haven't moved forward. And because it was like so embarrassing. Like, how do you say something like that to these guys? First of all, I'm grateful that they gave me the time of day.
Right.
So nonetheless, his brother goes on to tell me after I came out of my, holy shit, what just happened in my life. I just dumped my life savings over there. My family's life savings over there. And, and we had some really amazing people, like on my trade license. So for certain types of businesses in Dubai, you have to have a local as a agent or a partner. So I was the kind of company that doesn't have to have a local partner, but has to have an agent, a local agent. So my agent was Nasser Niadi, and this soldier, gem of a human being, I just love him. He's the guy that started Skydive Dubai, and he's the Crown Prince Hamdan's one of his aides, and the guy that he does the skydiving and the paragliding and the bungee jumping with him, and like the real outdoorsy kind of, really, like, you'll see them in the streets, the Crown Prince, like, walking down the streets. Pretty amazing. And so I had these kind of people, this kind of person on my trade license, and we were really speaking to some pretty VIP people that wanted to see a wrestling promotion like the WWE or AEW or Impact Wrestling in the Middle East, touring for the locals to enjoy. And I was all for it. So he says, his brother goes on to say to me that this investor that they got for 12 million, he gets his first million, and he goes and he, pieces off my head coach or my former head coach, 50,000 here. Secretaries are getting 20,000 there. He's marrying 25-year-old a 25-year-old woman, and having a huge wedding and buying a Maserati. And then he goes through that million, I guess, rather quickly. And I know some of the guys that are still friends of mine today, like Steve Linsky, who was involved, who does some of the booking, or has in the past for QPW. He hires all of these guys and brings them down there. And then he goes back to the investor for the next chunk of, I think it was 3 million, God forgive me if I'm mistaken, as best as I can remember. And the investor basically told him, hang on a minute. I just watched you go through $1 million of my dollars and not put on a show, and you want more money out of me? Get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You mentioned QPW. You were friends with Ali Marafi?
Yeah, I know Ali. Good guy. And he one thing I can say about Ali is he pays, and he doesn't ever leave anybody stranded. So that's a quality that I can definitely attest to from my somewhat from my little dealings I've had with him. But his reputation precedes him. He's obviously he's a good dude. In this business, if you screw around, you're not going to last very long.
Right. Now, in the Ultimate Wrestling Nation, that wasn't that initially like a bare knuckle wrestling or something of that sort of bare knuckle fighting? When
we first produced our first TV series out here in Calgary on Satina, almost 20 years ago, it was the first ever professional wrestling full contact prize fight in the never seen before octagon ropes. So it was, it was a little, let's just say, stiffer than regular pro wrestling.
Right. So that was called prize fighting.
Yeah.
So everybody was wrestling for money.
It was more like shoot wrestling.
Well, pro wrestling prize fight. Was a pro wrestling prize fight. So you actually win. If you lose, you don't get paid. If you win, you get the purse.
Right. And how high did the purse go?
100,000 was our.
100,000. Okay. So you had that one in Dubai also, didn't you? The prince was putting money into it, the tournament.
No, actually, put up everything for the
Oh, you put
ultimate
up everything. Okay.
I put up everything, just to have, the Crown Prince's advisor on your trade license and working with you is speaks volumes,
Yeah.
At that point, you're just, and in a place like Dubai, like, oh my God, like if you could ever think to start a business, that's where you'd want to start one, is there, because it's just such an amazing place.
Mm.
And so now that you're back in Calgary full time now, right?
Yeah, we got this the Workforce Fitness Performance Center here in Calgary, where I maybe I'll go on a tour in Lebanon, hopefully this summer. And just for a lot of the students that can't get visas to come over here and train with us here, we get so many requests from students from, the Middle East and African countries and what have you, and India and Pakistan, that we figured we might as well open another facility in Lebanon where it's easy to get in and get a visa. You can get a visa right at the airport when you enter the country, and a student can stay for the 3-month training program. But now in Calgary, we got, things are really going great here at the Workforce Fitness Performance Center.
Are you training the students also, or are you more of the background now with the?
No, I'm the showmanship and intensity coach. So I come in when the students start to develop their character and a little bit of timing on when to do what and intensity. And then I'm also the kids coach for the kids program for the under 14.
Now, do you know Vinny Fever?
I was going to say that.
What's his real name?
Otto Gentile.
Oh, Otto Gentile, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Gentile.
Otto is actually Can-Am Wrestling is where I first started.
Can-Am Wrestling, that's the company.
One, yeah.
It was the first promotion I ever wrestled for. Like almost 20 years ago now or more. Yeah. Yeah,
we had Bruce Hart on here on the show once.
Yeah, that's again. I just say you're gonna have any guest coaches if you get Bruce Hart.
Yeah. Bruce was one of our coaches when we first opened out this facility. We were out at Sutina before under the banner of the Ultimate Wrestling Nation, but this location here is the Workforce Fitness Performance Center.
Yeah. Wow, when I did the trivia on them, I had to try to keep it with like the Canada base with Stu Hart and Stampede. It was fun. I knew they could nail me to the wall with the answers. Like I tried to screw around with it, but nope, they still got me.
They still got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bruce. I love Bruce.
Bruce doesn't fuck around. He knows it all.
He knows it all.
I was trying to trick Bruce the most, but change the wording of it so it might be a different answer. But nope.
No, not Bruce.
He knew right, especially when it came to Stu Hart. He knew right away. I couldn't fool him for anything.
Practically said, "Don't fuck with the Hearts." That's what he said.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you. Even Stu, when I met him, what a gentleman. God rest his soul. He was much older, and I come up to because I was trained by Ted Hart at BJ's gym down on 7th Avenue, and when I went up to the Hart House and I first met Bruce, and I said, Stu, sorry. And I said, hey, Stu, what a great honor it is. My name is Ali Farhat. Even in his later years, he still had a mind that was this sharp. Mm-hmm. As soon as I said my name, Ali Farhat, he looked up at me and said, any relation to Eddie Farhat?
I did the same thing. I said the same thing.
Yeah, but you're not. Please don't.
The original sheet.
Stu said, and then you said, I said, what? Come on.
You're not Stu, John. You're not Stu.
Yeah, but I said in our first interview, I said, are you related to Ed Farhat, the original Sheik? I said that.
Yeah, you did. You did. And I was like, wow, like this guy is still, and he would take you into a story from the 60s and he just make you live in that time for that moment. Oh, yeah. Just what a great guy.
Did you let him stretch you?
No, I was not. I was not getting under his thumb.
Oh man.
Yeah, we heard stories about when Bruce stretched you, he stretched you.
Yeah, he stretched you.
You're laying on the floor waiting to recover before you can leave.
I did some shows with Stampede as well too. That was fun because Ellie Hart was there, and and TJ was there, and Natty was there, and Jinder Mahal was there, and Raj Singh was there, and Jack Evans, and
Jack Evans was in Stu Hart's camp.
Jack Evans was trained by Ted Hart.
Oh, okay. That one I didn't know. He's
Or
one hell of a
at
wrestler
least-
himself, Jack Evans. I'll tell you that.
And you know what? Hold on a minute. Unless he trained before he came to Calgary, because if he did, I don't know about it. Because him and Ted were really tight, and I was older than these guys too. You know what I mean? I was coming out of college, and for me it was like, this is a great way to make a living. This is just a great way to. I mean, like, if you want me to act like a beast, to look like a beast, and not go to jail every time I punch somebody out. I mean, this was made for me.
All right.
So I wasn't a wrestling fan growing up, you guys. I never watched it on TV. I grew up as a boxer from about 8 to 9.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly, when we interviewed you, we asked you how you got into wrestling, and you weren't even wrestling at all. And somebody, if I can remember correctly, somebody said to you, "Hey, you look like you could be a wrestler."
Ted Hart did at BJ's
Ted Hart,
gym.
okay.
Ted Hart at BJ's gym. I was out there in that playing basketball in his dad's gym parking lot, and he walks up to me and he says, "Hey man, you got a good look." He goes, "You ever wrestled before?" And I knew him. He was the owner's son, and he had the ring upstairs. And you'd see Davey Boy training and all these guys. I didn't know who the hell they were, but. He says, "You watch it on TV?" And I said, "No." He goes, "You ever wrestle in high school?" I said, "No." And he says, "Well, what if I let you try for a couple of weeks for free? Would you do it?" And I said, "Of course I would."
Why not?
Yeah.
Wow.
And,
That's great.
Yeah. And and I didn't know who these guys were. Like TJ was, Tyson Kidd was, is a huge star, and Natty, Jim the Anvil Neidhart's daughter was there, and Ted, and all these guys, and I was like, wow, like I didn't know who they were, So it wasn't until later on I realized, oh my God, I'm in here with royalty, wrestling royalty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Hearts. That's wrestling royalty also.
And Ted was teaching stuff. Ted was teaching stuff that you just never seen before. Like you didn't see it on TV. Like he designed a move that had never been done before. I'd be like, man, this kid's a genius, man.
Yeah. Now, have you heard of a wrestler named go by the name of Blaze Haram?
Blaze Hurrah?
Blaze Haram.
I don't think so.
Or no?
Oh,
He fights for TCW over here in New Jersey. And he's of Middle Eastern descent.
Okay.
He called himself the Arabian Predator.
The Arabian Predator.
Okay.
And I was talking to Johnny before we came on. I says, if the beast from the Middle East comes over to the States, we could pair him up with Blaze Haram.
Is he good?
Oh,
is he good?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's got multiple belts right now.
Heel among heels. He's a heel through and through like you.
Yeah.
You know what? Mo Jabari?
Mo Jabari, no.
Well, he runs Dungeon Wrestling with Dallas and Blade. Dallas and Blade Hart are Bret Hart's sons, and they run Dungeon Wrestling out here. And they just had like Nick Aldis and Chris Masters and Brian Pillman.
He might have been. I think he might have been in that. He might have been in that group. I think he came to Canada a week or two ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Really, you know what? You guys should give him my number, and I'll set him up with these guys with Dungeon Wrestling here, and maybe they can that'll give him some Middle Eastern presence in the organization, because I know
he's in a team, a triple team. It's him, another guy named Ben Hameen, and GGP, the Greek god Papadon.
No way.
You know Greek god Papadon. He's been around.
If I'm not mistaken.
All right, we're gonna.
Ali, guess what
this
time it is, Ali?
Right
Ali, guess what time it is?
No, it's stopped. It's gonna stop recording.
Oh, it's gonna stop recording. Oh man, too late then.
Yeah, too
I have
late
to
for
grab
the
you another
trivia.
day, Ali.
Oh, okay.
I can't try to stump you with with my trivia.
Anything you want to plug?
Just the Workforce Fitness Performance Center. If any of these youngsters out there are looking to get trained